We're recording. Now, this is the bit where you're not allowed to use any profanity. Imagine if I just start making loads of rules. No. Yeah, you're not allowed to wear blue shirts. That's my only rule about the podcast. You know?
It's fine. I got a hoodie. I'm prepared. It's fine. I'm fine.
Oh, new rule. You're not allowed to wear pink hoodies either, you know?
Okay, well, that's fine. I got an orange one.
We're doing more
Listen, you can't beat me.
Now,
Prepared for every eventuality.
what I just thought is I don't have an opener at all. So this lighter will have to do. So
I even got the bottle for presentation and everything, so I can shut it off in a little bit.
Has to be done, yeah. So what are you drinking? Did you get the trace?
So I got the bison grass vodka.
Oh right, sorry, yeah. Does it have your piece of
that
grass
was,
in it?
It does indeed. It's in here.
Nice.
You can see it. In the front of the bottle.
Awesome work.
It's good. It's smooth stuff, honestly.
You are of Eastern European descent as well, so you would know, right?
Yeah, I am born and raised in Poland. Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, partially raised, I guess.
Well, then you can't laugh at me because today I am drinking Erdinger alcohol free. Because these podcasts have been kind of kicking my ass, like, you know. So
that's fine. Listen, I'm not judging.
Yeah, just wait now. All of the comments underneath this video are going to be like, "Fake podcast, doesn't even drink, man."
You can get alcohol-free beer in a pub. It's fine.
You can. That's the plan. Like, you know, for the next while anyway. I don't know. I'll see. Because I'm going to the mix-up next week. And oh wait, I'm not allowed dated. I'm not allowed dated. My editor hates when I put a date on it. I'm going to the mix-up at some undisclosed time soon, or it has already happened. And
in foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Like some of the crew, some of the guys from the production team are very, very fun guys to be around. So the last time I brought like a bottle of whiskey just as a kind of a hey, I'm Irish and sort of thing. Like, and one of the guys from the crew ordered 3 different bottles of whiskey because he saw me with whiskey. He was like, "Hey Sam, do you have any preference on whiskey?" I was like, "No, I'm fine. I have my own." Like, and he was like, "All right, cool." Like, bottle of Jack Daniels, bottle of like something else or whatever, and he just got it delivered to the venue. This guy on a bike just came up to the like truck entrance. He just took the bottle.
It's efficient. Gotta love it, right? Like, you know, you're wasting no time.
Yeah, I mean, it was very fun. What about you? Any shows coming up, or you doing anything fun?
I mean, business has been dry. Let's put it like that. But it's also partially I've been busy with our stuff, which doesn't help. Since we're not dating it in the foreseeable future, where Elf will be officially shutting down, so we're past the announcement now.
Yeah.
Which is all sad, but don't worry, I won't cry. I've already done that off camera. So the final Elf one will probably be. I'll probably do a little bit of commentary on that, but I think I think there's a bunch of people like Bebop and others that wanna jump on the mic and, you know, honor the event.
Nice.
For the final one. So hopefully I get to share the mic with them as well.
Yeah, that's on in May, isn't it?
That's end of May. Yeah, it'll be end of May. End of May 2023, in case this episode comes out after that.
Well, this episode is pinned to come out sometime in 24. So yeah, it's thank you for yeah, I was thinking about heading over to it because obviously Elf was one of the first like kind of big shows in the UK that were like, yeah, sure, come over and jump on the mic, like. And
Elf Revolver, I remember that fondly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Sam Diding, PUNLIFE, and Bebop trio. That was it was a good time. It was a hell of a good time.
Team, and then there was that guy, Black Ace Cosplays, dressed up as Eddie.
Yeah.
I had to
Behind us, yeah.
I had to go to the bathroom so bad that I asked him would he jump on the mic for a minute.
You gotta do what you gotta do, right? Like it worked out at the end, so that's what counts.
Yeah, it was a good show. So do you wanna? I was gonna kind of leave that for a little bit, but you wanna talk about Elf and stuff, and because I have no idea why that it's ending.
It's a hard one. It's a hard. Tell me,
dude.
I don't think anybody's
fuck off now. Like I'm not
No, it's not like a, I'm mostly an open book. If people ask questions, I'm mostly willing to answer. So this isn't something that we're hiding or being not transparent on. So Vern's had a pretty turbulent. Vern's the founder of Elf, also known as Grimulus. So he's had a pretty rough time of life in the last couple of years. But he still kept Elf going, even though times are tough. And I pick up the slack where I can. So I was effectively a second in command for Elf for the last 5 years or so. So a while. And Elf itself has been around for about 6 and a bit. So I try to cover up just do whatever I can around the place, be it TOing. Obviously, I did production Elf itself, admin, commentary, whatever I needed to do, I did. But there's only so much I can try to catch up on. There's still ultimately Vern's private life that he wants to take care of and focus on himself. And he's given 6 years of his life to the community, both for Tekken and KOF and for other games. Like we did Dragon Ball, we did Marvel sometimes, we did a bunch of different games, even like Dead or Alive and stuff. It just felt like a good time. And when I had a conversation with him, I said, ultimately, you got to take care of yourself first. The community will understand. We've had an amazing run. Like we've achieved things we never really expected to. It was just a small local in East London, then ended up in North London somehow. But it was a brilliant time. We did great things, and if we have to call it quits, let's call it quits on a high note, right? Let's make a great event at the end of it and close it up, and people can have a good memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was mainly the big thing. I think the other thing that happens as well is when you've had an event series running for 6 years, and there are some, obviously, like VSF springs to mind as a massively long tournament series as well. And that's just once a year, and that's so much work for Justin as well, I can only imagine. When you've had a series that long, after a certain point of your life would have changed, right? Like you're in a completely different position in life. You might have a different job. You might have different priorities. And maybe you just can't sustain running a series like this anymore. For us, obviously, it was monthly. Elf used to be bi-weekly at one point,
Jesus.
back in the day. So, and a lot of people used to make it as well. So it was a good time back then, but things changed. Like I've managed to finish uni in the time I joined. Like I joined Elf on my placement year. So my third year of uni, and then I finished uni, and now I'm like 3 years out of uni.
Damn.
So my life has changed a lot as well. I'm about to change jobs this week as well. So it's a lot of different priorities are changing. And same with a lot of our people. Robin, our streamer, has just got a new place, and she's doing great. I mean, a few other people as well moving out. I'm not even in London anymore. It takes me like 3 hours to get to Elf. Sometimes longer than that. And I sometimes don't even get to play. I travel 3 hours to work for free and then go back home the same day for another 3 hours.
Where are you based?
So it's hard. I'm in Southampton right now. So
Right.
I've been in Southampton for just under 2 years, and I'm likely staying here for a bit longer. I don't know how long. I mean, I have no intention of moving out at the moment. It's been nice. It's a pretty chill area, and my current apartment is pretty nifty. So I'm not complaining.
Nice. Yeah. Wow. God, that's crazy though. 3 hours.
Yeah.
3 hours.
The dedication,
travel.
right?
Do you know what? Everybody watching, I had people that said that they don't want to travel like 45 minutes to go to their own local. Like, so look at this man.
Listen, I'm built different. I'm built different.
But I think people who are like figures in the community have to be like, you can't. I mean, I don't know. Just from the people that I talk to, anyway, like lazy is almost like a fear for a lot of these people. Like if they catch themselves slacking, it's more about that they're going to beat themselves up rather than they're not going to get the next show or anything, or so I respect that.
Yeah. It's a hard one though, because it's like for a lot of people doing TOing, especially doing TOing full time, especially if it's like a smaller team, sometimes it feels like a second job, honestly, and like you're not getting paid for it. Like from TOing, I've made a grand total of nothing.
Dang.
Vern occasionally buys me lunch, and I usually tell him not to because I feel bad, because I was like, bro, it's your money. Like you're already in negative for running out. Like, come on, it's fine. I pay for my own travel, and obviously all that jazz. So it's not cheap. Obviously, shout out to the UK rail system for being utterly terrible. But it is what it is, and
Mm.
that's just like considering the financial side and the sort of the work side of running things. When you start getting into the mental toll it takes on you, like I've nearly ruined my relationship, my current long-term relationship, because of Elf, because I used to dedicate so much time to it. And my partner used to work shifts, right?
Mm.
So she would, let's say, she had a Saturday free, but I was at Elf the entirety of Saturday doing an event.
Yeah.
um or I was doing something else for Elf, or I was doing this for Elf, and it's like, okay, yeah. So at one point, she was like, yeah, you have to like prioritize. You gotta like change your time up a little bit, because this isn't working out. Just scary moment, but hey, we got through it.
Yeah.
But stuff like that generally happens, and that's just TOs having a life outside of the FGC. Um,
And I mean,
Managing everything is tough.
I've never TO'd, and I've also had to have that exact same conversation that it's
Yeah.
like, you know, it's all well and good to be seen at an event, but sometimes you have to take a weekend off and just be like, all right, baby, let's go for dinner or the cinema or something, and
Yeah.
maintain your human outside of the game relationships and stuff is very very important.
Yeah, 100%. And it's hard though. Like, I don't know. It might just be a me thing, because a bit of a workaholic me, but sometimes trying to manage the time and give yourself like a healthy life, and also put enough time in for the FGC, and then for your like obviously normal day job, because FGC is not getting close to like paying me what a normal day job is.
Yeah.
Um, so managing that and like trying to get like a healthy amount of time into all, and then still like taking care of yourself as well, man, it's difficult. I have no idea how people do it. I have no idea how I have done it. Like, I
Yeah.
just like, constantly keep getting it wrong.
Yeah, it is though. I think there isn't a set of rules because we're all individuals. Like, and obviously, if you can say that you're a workaholic, your idea of being a workaholic could be totally different to somebody who also says they're a workaholic but puts 2 hours in on a weekend for some extra work. Like,
Yeah,
like that's tiny compared to what if you want to be involved in esports and stuff. Um,
it's a rough journey. It's a rough
but
journey.
you're a commentator as well. We've done a bit of shows, a few shows
We
together
done a
and
few.
stuff. We've done some VSF we did together and stuff. Obviously the ICFC I think is. Did you find a bump from ICFC? Getting shows and
Right.
that. Did you notice a kind of a bump in kind of your people's eyes on you or like that?
So I think there's been a bump in recognition,
Right.
for sure. A bump in shows. To be brutally honest, not really.
No.
But I think that comes down to the fact that current UK talent is very well. I want to say EU, but pretty much all the talent right now on the EU side is from UK, and I obviously,
Yeah.
UK and I. But it's just hard to break into, like, between yourself and Kobe and Spag and Bubsy. It's a stacked pool. Like, listen, you can only fit so many people on commentary teams. So realistically, I have to hope that Kobe and Bubsy are busy, or you're busy, or Spag's busy, right? And then maybe I can make it. Like, I know I'm not far off, but I know that I am like still have ways to work to put myself in that sort of the top echelon. So, I whenever I can get an opportunity, I try to do it. I did a couple of events with the Band of Brawlers guys for Electric Dome,
Nice.
and obviously I jump on the mic with Elf. Me and Rukang had a really good commentary sesh at the last one. So I try to do what I can, but
Nice.
it's fine. Like, I don't need commentary to like tide me off financially and anything. So if I get an opportunity, it's a great time and I'll appreciate it. If I don't, that's perfectly fine. There's talented people in place, and you know
Yeah, but
I can't feel angry or scorned for anything like that. It's never anything personal in that sense. So
yeah, it's I don't know, man. It's such a weird world, and like obviously I'm very very happy with where I am in it, but I I didn't like stand on anybody to get there or anything. I don't know because I've seen,
yeah,
I remember this, and I don't want to mention any names, but there was somebody giving out about the Tekken Illumunati, that it was just the Illuminati people that are getting commentary shows. And directly under that tweet, I saw you had said, "Oh, I just applied for commentary at this thing," and I was like, "There's the difference. That's why PUNLIFE will get picked over this person who was just saying, oh, but there's never going to be a change in the commentary scene, like, you know, the guys at the top or the guys at the top or whatever, like, you know, and then directly underneath you tweet, oh, I just applied for commentary, I'm really looking forward to it if I get it, or whatever. I was like, the difference.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's a really complex topic, right? So it's really easy to feel entitled or scorned because you're not being picked, especially I think the prime issue that causes this is the talent pipeline and Tekken, and maybe I don't want to say fighting games as a whole because I don't want to make a sweeping statement because I'm not part of a lot of the ever game scenes. I think it's based in the UK, especially. EU is a slightly different story because there's locals and stuff, but it's basically non-existent. If you start commentating, you usually, I don't know, maybe do some locals, maybe do like some smaller scale onlines and such, and keep doing those. And then where do you go? When do you know you're ready? When will you get picked up? Right? It's kind of nutty. Like I've been commentating pretty much the same time as 5 years. I think we've both been doing 5 years about.
Yeah, I think so,
roundabout
yeah.
in commentary. So roundabout the same time. And I think like when we both did Revolver, we were pretty much equal in experience. We've both done some onlines, we've both done some offlines and stuff. And then you shot ahead, like you've gained a massive lead. I think we've grinded really hard, and you got ICFC, and you grinded on bows, and then you started getting offlines, and you've kept a good job. And I think you've really evolved as a commentator, right? And you just kept going. The problem is, it takes a lot of grind for someone to get up to that level and then keep it. And the thing with a lot of these roles, especially, I know from some of my experiences, all it takes is one mistake. And you make one mistake and you're not making it back, right? Because it's such a competitive field and there's so many talented people around. So it's hard. Like, even if you make it, it's hard staying at the top. So, like, I have a lot of admiration for yourself and Spag and Kobe and Bubsy, and even like the US commentators, Rip, Steve, MYK, etc., Bloodhawk.
Yeah.
So it's hard, but building that I think the big thing that partially Elf's downfall is going to cause as well.
Is going to
It's going to be Elf's downfall, like Elf closing down, is I think going to collapse the talent pipeline in UK or whatever remains of it. Because right now, like, where do commentators go? I suppose if you're based in Scotland, there's obviously lots of Scottish locals you could go to and use those as an opportunity. I guess Bristol, Leeds, Manchester. But for a lot of commentators, you might not be able to travel between all those locals. You might be able to go to some. Even in terms of onlines, it's a bit of a barren landscape right now. Obviously, Salty EU is still around, but there isn't many other events. Elf TNT has been long since buried for like 2 years or something. But that was obviously a series that ran for a while as well. So it's hard. I don't know how we raise new talent. I tried. We had talent initiatives with Elf.
Yeah,
we brought like Bebop and other people. And I think that was a massive success. I think that was fantastic. That's one of the I'll hold that up as one of the greatest things I've done in the FGC. Like, that would be like I'm proud of this. This is great. But once we're gone, I'm not sure what we do. Like, how do we train new talent?
But you see, so I never got, and I can only speak for myself, and I understand that the speed at which that I got up to getting kind of bigger shows was a lot quicker than other people. There's a couple of reasons that I kind of put that down to, but I think that's later on in the story. I never got any training. Like, there wasn't a local that I could go to, and like my first offline was Celtic Throwdown ever, and I had applied to be a commentator at it, and I got pools or something. And then I remember AJ came up to me after I had done the 12:45 to 2 p.m. slot on Friday, like, you know. He came up to me and he was like, look, you're really good, we want you for top 16. And I was like, unbelievable. And the only way that I had gotten or felt confident enough to apply for that show was I did Salty EU for maybe 2 years, almost every Saturday. Like, there would have been very few that I would have missed. So like, Salty still do that. Like, there's still like an online tournament, but like I think a lot of people would, it's very easy to to see what I've done and be like, oh, fucking, I should be there, or, you know, he doesn't deserve it and that sort of shit. But I would argue that
People don't see the work you've done.
exactly, that's and I don't, I'm not trying to toot my own trumpet, but I put myself in positions where they had no choice but to notice me. Like, you know, like I would go up to venue or like TOs from every tournament. If I found out that, you know, Bodie was at this tournament, I make sure Bodie knows who the fuck I am. I'm walking up, hey Bodie, how are you getting on? I'm a commentator. What's the story with you? Like, and you know, and there were all these, you know, like going broke, flying to different shows and that sort of stuff. That first year, where I was like, okay, TWT is what I want to do. I was in the red for 12 months straight, like, you know, because I was making no money. Brussels Challenge Major was the start, and they paid for my hotel. That was it. And then the rest, like Head Stomper, I had to pay for myself. I can't remember what else I did that year, but it was just like work really hard in the bar, like as many days as I could to pay for flights and that sort of shit. But yeah, I suppose like the speed at which I got up is probably just because I'm really good at networking. Like that, I was
gonna say that's a kind of an untold story about a lot of this stuff, and this isn't just an esports thing, but esports, especially because of how tight knit a lot of the high end talent communities are.
Yeah.
You really need to know how to network. It's not just how good you are. People need to know you. People need to be aware of who you are. If you have some kind of a brand recognition attached to your name, especially, that's really, really important, because it makes you more recognizable. More people will pay attention to you.
Yeah.
So stuff like that is incredibly important. And obviously you can't really train that. That's just a lot of social skills, which I suppose a bit hard to combine in the FGC and gaming communities.
Sure.
To a degree.
Yeah. I mean, I understand, but I think that like common courtesy and shit tends to do a lot better than, you know, networking isn't just about making people laugh or like being a super loud funny guy or whatever. Like, you know, you can definitely concrete your person in somebody's brain by just walking up smiling and shaking hands and stuff, like, you know. And if that's your barrier, if that's where you say, oh well, you know, I should be doing commentary at the mix up but I can't because I can't shake hands, that's a very easy problem to solve. Like, you know, like, be it hypnotherapy, be it therapy, like, be it just like, you know, go and shake hands all day until you're insane about that. Find out who runs mix up and then shake his fucking hand, like, you know, show him that, you know, because I mean, there's so many commentators in Europe now, like exactly what you were saying, like it's a super competitive market, that just being a good commentator isn't enough. Like, and I know people are going to argue that some of the what do they call them, the Sinister Six now, like, you know, me, Spag, Bubsy, Markman, Rip, and Steve, like, that was the World Tour Finals photo. But people have argued that some of those guys aren't great commentators, but they're just like really hype, or, you know a lot about the game or whatever, but their actual commentary skill isn't that. But it's like, it's very easy to shit talk when you're not sitting beside them, like, you know.
Yeah,
you see it on Twitter every time some post is made, somebody talks fucking shit. Like, I swear to God, I'm broken recording here. This podcast is just basically me talking shit about people that talk shit. But now I've got a fucking microphone and a camera, so fuck you all, guys.
I could make the most of the platform, right? But no, it's true. It's 100% true. There's a lot more to it. But then it kind of depends where you want to get with it as well. Like,
if you're hired
me,
as set for a hobby, do that, like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, everyone has different priorities. Everyone has different approaches to it. Like, what was the initial reason why you got into commentary?
Because playing the game was too hard. I was much better at talking than I was at actually, like, practicing Tekken.
So you saw an open position at, like, Salty, and you jumped on and you did that, right?
Yeah, because it was Ace that used to do the commentary, as he was TO.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I remember, yeah.
And, you know, there'd be massive gaps as he was trying to, like, reply to somebody on Discord or whatever. And so I just said, like, Fuck, dude, I'm hitting 64 out of a 70-man bracket here. Like, maybe playing isn't where my real skills lie and shit. And so I hit him up and I said, "Hey, can I try this?"
So that's one way of getting in, right? I want to say that kind of goes with like the old cliche, if you can't play, commentate
Sure.
type deal.
Yep.
The old cliche, right? And the thing everybody always says about commentators. But for me, for example, I had a slightly different origin story.
Okay.
So I was also a player first, right? It's not like to be fair, I don't think anybody in the FGC just comes into a local and be like, I want to be a commentator first. Like that doesn't happen. There's no way, because there's no money in it. Why would you do it unless you really like commentating games?
Yeah.
Maybe not. But I was a player first, and I think I was in the FGC for at that point about 3 months or so, 3, 4, something like that. December 2017, so we're still within the year of release, within the sort of 6 months of release from Tekken, because it released in June. Right in between my exams, and I was banging it out because childhood memories, and then met someone unranked, and he invited me to a local, and that local was Elf, and somehow 5 years later. But yeah, so we were doing a Royal Rumble event. So those that aren't aware, Royal Rumble is like a wrestling event where 30 people enter one by one. It's like a King of the Hill style event, and then the person left at the end wins. And Gussain and myself jumped on the mic because Eternal, Dragon, and Abominable had to go home and catch the train. And Vern was like, "Oh yeah, so anybody want to jump on the mic?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, yeah, whatever, I'll do it." At this point I used to stream a lot when I was at uni, and I would be streaming for like 6 to 8 hours a day.
Jesus.
To like almost no one. There was almost no one watching. It would occasionally be my friends, and I was just streaming League and just with my friends and just like messing around. And I was just doing it. I had nothing else to do at uni.
You were talking about the Royal Rumble event, and Dragon and Abominable they had to go home.
Yeah, so we had to catch a train. So me and Gussain jumped on. It was a good time. It was funny. It's just I gave it a shot, and then afterwards, Vern and some others were saying like, "Oh, you got a good voice for it. You did a good job." And I figured, what, sure, I'll try it some more. Like especially locals. If that can help, and that was my way of giving back to the locals by covering the spot on the mic. When I did that, and no, there was never any thought of money or anything like that. I just wanted to help my local. And I ended up on the admin team not too long after, I think within sort of the next 2 or 3 weeks. I was trying to make the Elf like pro team at a time. So we had a Dragon Slay sponsorship back in the day.
Yes,
which was a nightmare. And that's a whole another like can of worms to get into, because I know that from the admin side, right? But I ended up on the admin team instead. Which was completely unintentional. I did not mean to start running a local and helping with that. I just wanted to play the game. But yeah, going to commentary, and then did that for a few years. We got to Revolver. That was a great time. That event was an absolute mess. That event should have not happened. It was a bloody miracle it did. It was insane, the fact that it happened. There's so much that went on behind the scenes that almost destroyed the event.
Really?
Yep. That venue that we were using was not meant to be the original venue. We got double booked by another venue. I'm not gonna say who, because I don't want to
I actually
bygones.
I remember talking to Vern about that at that event. Yes, I know.
It was a big player in the scene, but it's fine. Let's say it was willful ignorance. Let's call it that. So that happened, and we had to fit 140 people into a quarter of a former FedEx warehouse.
Was
and,
that what it was?
That's why it's called XFed. It's a former FedEx warehouse. It's now our arcade, yeah. So that was great, and then it was a bit dry. I think I got a few more gigs during COVID, because I think a lot of people like Bubsy, like sort of the mainstay people, couldn't really commentate from home, and I had a good setup. I bought a new mic. I got into that's where I got a chance with Belong as well, and they kept me on, and I think that helped. So that was one of my sort of first few paid gigs as well.
Yeah. And
then, it kind of went on. Managed to guy CFC after a while, and VSF, which was nice. Fingers crossed I get VSF again. If I don't get any other master event, that's cool. I'm chill with that. I just I want to do VSF, because that's always a blast, and that's home, so to speak.
Yeah. Big UK.
So there's that.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but The thing is, I'd happily do VSF for free.
Don't say
Not that I
that.
want to
Don't say
undercut.
that. Yeah,
I don't want to. No. I don't want to undercut anyone. Don't get me wrong. But like, if let's say backing, like if all the sponsoring and like publisher backing for VSF disappeared, I would do it just to try to help Justin and the crew, because they've been such amazing TOs for so many years. So it's not that I want to undercut anyone. Don't get me wrong. I know that's a big
No, I
no-no
was
in
just
the
about to say,
industry as well.
don't ever say that you'd willingly work for free,
No,
because
no,
TOs
no, no, no.
will be
It's
like, yo, PUNLIFE, do it for free. No problem. Let's go.
Hey, I mean, this is the thing. I'm ultimately a community man, so like, if I'm not gonna go to a local, be like, "Yo, pay me £5 for this," right, or whatever. I like, if I know they're lacking for money and they just need someone on the mic, yeah, cool, that's fine. Like, I'll happily support. That's the fact that you're letting me talk during your event. That's great. That's already. I appreciate the honor of it. But that's always been my focus, the community aspect. And even when it comes to sort of like you were talking about, the brand recognition and like going to people and making sure that people know you, you do it in your way. I mean, obviously my way is just, I just do my thing. If people notice me eventually, then they notice me. If they don't notice me, evidently I'm not being loud enough. Evidently I'm not being skilled enough, in a sense. So
I think with
that
the way people
different ideologies.
Yeah, I don't agree with skill, because I would argue that you're a more skilled commentator than a lot of the people around now on the actual like pro scene. Like your ideas of commentary, like having a notebook with you at all times, like that was a thing that I now do just because I saw you doing it, like, and nobody else does that on the scene and stuff. Like you have this idea. What did you tell me after ICFC one time? You said that you friends that are commentators, and you don't want to be the best Tekken commentator. You want to be the best commentator. Like, full stop. Dude,
Yeah.
that's so important. Like, I was like, shit, he's 100% correct. Like, don't hold yourself to the standard of your own circle. Like, what's the global standard, and where do you lie on that one? Like, But
Exactly.
I don't
And
think it's your skill.
There's so many strong commentators, and even just like, we have esports obviously, but then there's like looking at like sports commentators, or other kind of commentary around other things as well. There's so much talent and skill out there, and just closing your mind to just one area or one field, I think, is very limiting. You can go beyond, right? And to quote Daigo Umehara, right, from his book, he talks about, it's easy to get to like if you're going from like 0 to 10, it's easy to get the path to 10. Like, it's easy to attain that kind of level, but the hardest path is always trying to go beyond that, like going beyond what's considered perfect, and then going even further and getting to an even better level. And I think that's what's really important, looking beyond what's the current standard and then going beyond that. How can I improve that? How can I add value? What can I bring to a commentary? And I've answered the question in my own ways, and everyone has their own style.
Of course.
Some people make jokes, some people make puns, some people are really good at ad reads or segues or whatever else. So everyone's got their own style, and this is how we add value to whatever game sense and other things we have, right?
Yeah.
That's the big important thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I love chats about commentary, and I feel like everyone who watches this podcast is getting bored about me talking, because I've been all fucking commentators. I'm just gonna have to, like, I don't know. There's another player one. I think it's either coming out before this or after this. I'm not sure. Sea Drift. See, I did it. Look, I'm not dating it. But yeah, I don't know, man. I love the topic of commentary. I love the idea that it is a skill, and you have to kind of work on being a good commentator, and it's not just something that you can fall into because playing wasn't enough and stuff. And like, exactly like what you're saying, everybody has their own kind of unique spin on it. So obviously the way you commentate is entirely different to the way I commentate, like, but there is still spots for us. I don't know. I love commentary. I love talking about commentary. I'm trying to limit it though.
The thing with a lot of that stuff is, right, so like, I'm having my I don't want to call it early retirement, right? Just waiting for a gig to turn up. But in the meantime, I'm not staying idle, right? So I might not be commentating that much, but what I've been doing is I've been playing the game a lot more. I have no idea how, because I had a massive burnout phase during COVID because I was running so many events. and I'm just gonna tell you, I hated the Tekken community during COVID.
Really?
I was about to slap the whole lot of them because you imagine you're running an event, you're stuck in one room, so you're getting cabin fever, right? And you still get people complaining. It's like, I swear to God, if I was out of this lockdown, someone's getting slapped. But I got past that phase. I took a break, and I got I think I got better for it. I got better at the game. I think I understand the game a lot better. I've been traveling to Bristol. I've been going to London, obviously, trying to play Elf. I've been doing sort of like smaller weekly things with friends as well, and trying to train them, trying to train myself, picking up other characters. So I think I'm getting at a good level. I think my understanding of the game is getting a lot better as well.
Nice.
And that's, at least that will benefit my technical commentary. Having more knowledge about the game is always valuable.
Yeah.
So that's great, and at the same time, it makes me really excited for Tekken 8 as well. I think that's going to be a really interesting one, because the moment Tekken 8 drops, I'm taking a week off work, labbing everything and making sure no other commentator comes even close to me. So like you can get ready for things like that.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
yeah, it's if you can't do one thing, just find another thing that you can use to complement it.
Of course.
If I couldn't play, then I'll probably just start streaming again and start getting used to that.
Yeah.
Because I think that's also really beneficial to those aspects.
If you were,
I mean, obviously, Elf keeps me busy anyway, so.
Sure. If you were offered a TWT spot that you get put on the roster, that you're now kind of flying once every 2 weeks, twice a month, sometimes 3 times a month or whatever for the world tour, would you do it?
I'd try. I'd definitely try. I've had a pretty busy schedule before, so it's not impossible. I think it would be a little bit of adjustment, and I think it would definitely be something to get used to, especially for my partner. But I think it wouldn't be impossible. I think I'd definitely give it a shot and see how it goes at least a few times.
Yeah.
But yeah,
like that.
listen,
That's a good answer.
I'm adjustable. Like, keep in mind, I've changed countries before, and I've moved cities like 3 or 4 times now.
Damn.
So it's the one thing in life I always try to do is I try to, like, no matter what happens, I just try to adjust. Ultimately, it's about survival and just keeping with whatever I'm doing. If I have to get better at one thing, I'll get better at that one thing. If I have to work harder, I'll work harder. Not necessarily the greatest way to live, because it does kind of have its ups and downs.
Leads to
It does get
burnout.
very stressful.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I've had some pretty insane burnouts. Punduction being one cause once upon a time, but it's one way of doing it.
Dude, that Punduction has saved my life so many times. That is just, I mean, you give commentators cheat sheets, like, like stats, like actual, like head-to-head stats. Oh, he's only won 12% of the time against. It makes us sound like fucking geniuses, like, and it's just there in front of us.
Yeah, I mean, even like something akin to Punduction, FG Combo, which I think is probably sort of the more accessible one for a lot of commentators and talent. I think that's just an insanely good tool. So yeah, fgcombo.com is fantastic for commentators
And is it the
and
same?
talent, or if you're just preparing some graphics.
Is it the same
It
sort of thing?
basically, yeah. So it does basically the same sort of thing as Punduction does. It's just, instead of getting things live, like, they will input events over time, and so you have like you can usually go a lot further back in it than you can in Punduction. With Punduction, it's mainly meant to be, I'm trying to pull as many events in, let's say, 10 seconds or whatever, or even faster, and display them on screen,
Right.
For the audience, which is really cool. And I still don't see anybody else but me doing it. Wink, wink, get on my level. But it's still a really good tool, and I think using stats and data, not just for commentary, but for other purposes, for like actual streaming purposes, to show to the audience, it's just a lot of value added fairly easily. Now that somebody has made the tools for it, just, hey, harness it, right?
Yeah. And what about, I don't know if you watched any of like CSGO or Valorant esports or whatever, and they have like shot accuracy that changes. Like it's obviously a tool that sits over the game and takes into account that sort of stuff. Would you maybe be able to do some stuff like that, like punishes, like accurate punishes, or with punishments missed, or that sort of stuff?
So I think the ideal approach with that would be to do something akin to how Tekken Overlay works, where it can keep track of what moves are being used and such. But I think that's where things get a little bit complicated. So because most events are on PS4s, we don't really have a way to hook into the data of the game like live. Whereas if let's say if we were running on PC, then you could run something like Tekken Illumunati, or whatever other program, anything that works again, where you're pulling the data out of the actual game, out of the memory.
Yeah.
If you're pulling it live, you could 100% like code things to recognize if it's a correct punish or not. Just looking at frames, you could 100% check.
Yeah.
It would be a lot of work. It would be a lot of data, but it's not impossible. But ultimately, you need that live stream of data from the game. I don't think there's any other way of doing it right now. The thing I've been praying for, and I have added Harada about this before, and Murray, is put an actual API into the game, or alternatively, get the game to record as many stats as possible, and then have a site much like CFN for Street Fighter, where you can go see. You could for Street Fighter 5, you can literally go see all the matchup win rates between every character. It's public data. It's on their website. You can just go see it every time. They publish it. They change it with every patch. You get a new published data for it. Win rates for all the characters, a bunch of other stuff. You can get player statistics on it. All kinds of data. If they do something like that for Tekken, which did, by the way, exist at one point, Tekken World Tour Federation, no, Tekken World Federation, I think it was called, back in TAC 2 days. I wasn't around in those days. I just remember seeing it because I couldn't own a PS3. So I remember being green with envy when looking at that stuff. But as like something like that, bring that back, give an access to all the data, and people can take advantage of it. I think right now Namco's not really utilizing the fact that if you give some access to the data, people will do things for you. You won't even have to worry about it. Like PUNLIFE will come around and give you TWT data before it.
That was great. Sorry, and I did get in trouble actually. I'm just making a quick segue because I mentioned it on the broadcast for the Tekken World Finals day 1, so it would have been like the kind of pools and stuff, that I had said something about something about Punduction, and I said shoutouts to PUNLIFE doing Punduction, and then I opened the broadcast for day 3 or whatever, or day 2, when it was in the like arena, and I just quoted off all of the statistics that you had put on your Twitter, because I literally took them directly from it, wrote them down on my cue card, and was like, over 8,000 games across this amount of regions or whatever, this amount of players, and then just didn't fucking say anything. And I was like, so why didn't I just say?
I was sitting in the VIP row, so like we made sure we were on time, right? Yeah. And flex of the VIP row, by the way. I was sitting there, and I was like, I'm hearing this data. I'm like, oh, he's using the stats. I'm about to hear my name. And I'm like, I was just thinking to myself, like, this is actually a really good intro. Like, you know what? Like, I can't say anything wrong. This is a really well done intro. Like, using the stats in this way, that was an effective intro. Like, flowers for that and all that. But I don't hear my name, and I'm just thinking, Oh, how do I call this out without insulting Sam anyway, and like not seeming like I'm being really salty? So I think I tweeted something like, "Oh, I love hearing my data on the official TWT stream," and I didn't even put like, I usually put like the moon face when I'm being sarcastic, right, or just like having my sense of humor with it. But I didn't this time. I was like, you know what? I don't want to be rude. Like people will hopefully get what I mean. I felt so we talked afterward. Yeah, you apologize. It's all fine, right? It's okay. It's okay. Like no hard feelings or anything. It happens, right? In the moment, like when you're in commentary, it's hard to like consider little things like that anyway. Yeah. And I got a lot of love from people for that anyway. So you know, it's no biggie really.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
It's fine.
As long as people do know that information did come directly off your Twitter, I'm happy, because, yeah. Oh man, Jesus, I felt so bad for about a week after. I was like, why didn't I just fucking say it? Like, I don't like it's so easy. Like, just fucking shout out your cheat sheet.
It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. Like, it happens. But the thing is, I want to do it again, and I wanted to do it on smaller scale of like doing it like a quarterly things for the TWT, or like halfway through TWT, do a look at data.
Yeah.
But I did notice that it's actually a lot more difficult this season, because there doesn't seem to be a league on StartGG. It's all coming from Namco's site. So I have no easy way of pulling all the data at once. So I might be able to do it, but it's going to take me a hell of a lot of time. So thanks for that, Namco. Please, please put the league on Start GD so I can just pull the data easily. That'd make my life easier. But hey, I'll find a workaround. I've done worse. So tried with that. But yeah, I mean that was a hell of a product, by the way. That took weeks.
Really?
Yeah, because I've been talking of the idea of like aggregating a bunch of data for ages, and I saw FGC combo before then, and I was like, oh, this is really cool idea, but I want something that I can give to other people. So let's say you could aggregate just events in your area or events in your country, and in a very easy way where you just throw the links in, the app downloads it for you, and then puts in a database. But I was running out of time, so I automated a lot of it. But the last few bits, I was like, I'm like a week out of TWT, and I'm gone the Friday, Thursday, or whatever. So I only have like 4 or 5 days to release this. So I had to do a lot of things manually near the end of it, just throwing things to Google Sheets and then like downloading the graphs from Google Sheets and throwing into Photoshop and then editing them in Photoshop, making the graphics, throwing it into my folder, and then like, okay, this is going to go on Twitter. And I was getting feedback from a few people like, oh, is there any like other stats you'd want to see? I'll see what I can do. But it was a good data set. I think it was just really, really cool. And I kind of want to go back and do it for 2019 as well, because that one would also be quite easy to do because it's on Start GT. And that one's a lot bigger, by the way. There were a lot more events in 2019 than there were in the last season.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, by a big margin. It was a longer tour. It was a much longer tour. I mean, there was like 12 to 16 master events, I think, compared to 5 in the last one.
Yeah.
So it was huge. That tour was incredible.
Yeah, very fun. That was I remember when I got the world tour from Bandai, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna be like kind of, like it's kind of longevity. Like the next 9 months are gonna be fine. And all of the dates were crammed into like 5 months, I think, or something. And I was like, oh Jesus Christ! Like you're just looking at your calendar as like you don't have a weekend free for. I had to take all of August off last year. I remember that, like the entirety of August. I just couldn't do anything.
That must be quite good with like. Are you full-time commentating now, or are you part-time?
So I still do like 1 or 2 days a week in a restaurant, just as a sort of a safety net, just to keep everything. So if everything does in the morning fall to pieces, I can still have that in, but it's getting a little bit more difficult now, especially with this podcast and like kind of other stuff coming up and like that, that it's kind of my 1 or 2 days a week that I would normally be spending in the restaurant, I kind of want as free days, because it's like that's my weekend basically is just gone, like Wednesday, Thursdays, just doing it. So yeah, I don't know.
It's a hard one, and even like I mean, I'm a full-time software dev, right? So I have no idea how much I'd have to be traveling and doing events if I ever wanted to go full-time and commentary in the future, even if it's not for Tekken or other game, right? It would have to be an insane amount. The one convenient thing I suppose for myself is because I ended up in a career that actually usually pays decently. I don't have to worry about that aspect of it.
Yeah.
But it does also mean that if you ever want to quit it, the bar is quite high for what you need to make it justifiable.
Yeah. I mean, realistically speaking, being a full-time commentator doesn't really exist. Like, I know for any of the big franchise leagues, they've salaries.
Yeah, for like LEC and stuff.
Yeah.
Every salaried workers.
OWL and that sort of stuff. Don't they get salaried?
Yeah.
But I think that even in those situations, don't the majority of those guys all stream as well, or have?
Oh yeah, I mean, because like the way that a lot of stuff works is right. It's you're not doing it every day, so you have 3 days. You might as well use your brand recognition to get an additional revenue source. Then that's the ideal scenario, right? Especially if you're working on an industry as volatile as esports, you never really want to be in just one pie at a time, right? Like you said, you want a finger in every pie, right? You want to be sampling everything, because if one revenue stream collapses, you have another one to keep you at least afloat.
Yeah.
So that's that it only makes sense to use that. And with streaming, it's a big revenue source, especially if you're entertaining. If you're already a commentator or a host or whatever, like you already have the skill set for entertaining an audience to a degree. If you can retain an audience and get donations or subscriptions or whatever, then that's really good. Or other forms of content creation, even on YouTube or those aspects.
Yeah, it's a funny world because I mean, obviously, well, I don't know, man. Maybe it's not obvious, but there's a lot of people that try to be commentators, but then only try to be commentators. Like that's the thing, and like, you know, you get paid well sometimes. Like, you know, it's not like you know, my rent for the year is paid. Like we still have to kind of take bits from this, take bits from that, and all that. You know, like, I mean, it seems great if you like look at the day rate, but if you think like in the best case scenario you're doing 2 shows a month, your day rate
It's
doesn't
still not ideal.
Yeah, it doesn't look great. If you were doing Monday to Friday, your day rate would be fucking crazy, like, you know, but we don't do Monday to Friday. We do 2 weekends in a month, you know, sometimes 3. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, even like I think from the shows I've done, like the day rate was good, but I think it still doesn't. It's still lower than my the new day job rate, a day rate. So it's. I mean, I think I just got very lucky with my new job, to be fair. But it'd be hard, right?
Yeah. You see, like,
But
there's shows that do pay like crazy well. Like Evo was like silly. And same like the finals, the world finals, and any of the kind of larger shows, any of the masters or whatever, like they pay like better than I've made in a weekend of work ever, like, you know, or a week of work. But yeah, the problem again is like that there isn't a standard. Like, it's not like okay, well, now my rate is whatever, you know, say even if I put it at 200 a day, like, you know, if that was my standard, there would be some people would pay me more than that and other people would pay me much less than that. And like, it depends on the event, it depends on the person, it depends on if they're being cheeky, like, you know, like they would be like, will you do it for this instead, like, you know, and it still happens, like, you know, now. So there isn't a standard day rate, but then like if it was Evo money, like we'd all have a great time, but it's not, unfortunately.
yeah, it's unfortunately. I mean, I suppose it's also the difference between a lot of European events and American events, right? It's I mean, bro, America's made of money, you know. Just even looking at like advertising opportunities and a bunch of other things. It's a bit of a different ballpark. Even like I remember looking at software development salaries in America, and I was like, "What is this? Like, how is this possible? Like, I should just go to America." But I do kind of like having 25 days of holiday or whatever, and the work is right. So that's why I ended up in Europe still. Shout out to my American software developer homies. I hope you guys are doing well. But I remember like some of them taunting me. Like some of the guys within the scene actually be like, "Oh yeah, you should come to America. Like you will actually get paid money unlike Europe." And it's like, yeah, I know, I could do that, but at the same time, like going across the pond, and not a big fan of a lot of aspects of American culture.
Sure. That's the most politically correct way of saying you hate fat people
Listen,
and guns.
yeah. There's a lot more than the former, really, but. But yeah, also, you know, I'm a big lefty, so like it doesn't really work as well in America. It kind of just about works in Europe, so.
Yeah, politics. No, this is where I'm entirely out of my depth. I know an absolute.
Oh, don't worry, we're not about to talk about the theory of communism or Marx or anything like that. I won't throw you into the deep end. Not this time.
God. Yeah, I think I think this video just got flagged on YouTube. Like, you know, somebody watching.
I mean, I think it got flagged when I lifted this mug into the camera, right?
Somebody in YouTube went, oh, no. I think it's
demonetized.
But yeah, God, no, I couldn't do it, man. The whole political shit, dude. I have a like a very simple mantra. It's like, don't be a dick. Like, you know, if people are being dicks, maybe try stop that, but just try not to be a dick. You know, don't be a dick.
Honestly, surprised. So you'd be surprised how far that rule could go if people actually applied it. That and let live is you'd solve most of the problems. From from human rights to other things. It's just like, why do you care? It doesn't affect you. What's the point? Someone's smoking weed on a corner. Why do you care? It doesn't affect you, right?
Now we're
Like, why would you
definitely
criminalize that?
monetized.
No. Yeah, but like it's an example, right?
Sure.
So stuff like that. And even you can take that and boil it down to like a smaller scale. Even within the FGC, right? Most of the time, people are just needlessly harsh or needlessly aggressive. And I do admit that there are times where I have had my goes at Twitter, and people have seen me kind of body people. Let's say occasionally, very occasionally, I take my share of L's as well. But there are team owners and others that have experienced my shenanigans on Twitter. I mean, my legendary title of the UK, the Littlefinger of the UK FGC, has come from me like lashing out on Twitter at someone, right?
The Littlefinger,
so-
that's so good. I want to
Legendary
know
title,
more
I tell you.
about this, but I mean, what are you willing to say on the record?
So this isn't like this is relatively public. I mean, I don't know. This was like it's from 2019. It's from the Scottish Big Ian event.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try to keep names out of it for the most part, but I'll try to get a gist of what happened. So I went to Big Ian to Glasgow for it because one of my friends, Esler, who was the head TO for the Glasgow locals back in the day, lovely guy by the way. Shout out to him, legend of the community. Also was a former TWT commentator as well back in the day.
Oh, he was. I know he came over to Celtic Throwdown a good few times.
Yeah.
Nice guy. Very, very nice guy.
Yeah, very, very nice. Yeah. So I went to support. Took my PS4 on the plane and all that to help him run it. Yeah, the airport officials like wondering why is there a PS4 Pro in my bag. That was a great time taking it out as security. So the event was happening. I think one of the players was running late. It was a player from England. Just airport delays or plane lagging behind or whatever. Got rollbacked. I don't know. Happens. And I think the team was like his sponsor was asking for his pool to be switched with another one of our players because they were roughly like sort of similar skill level. Both very, very strong players in the UK. And the event declined it, and we're like, we're not going to switch around because people in both pools would be affected, blah, blah, blah. The right decision. So instead they delayed it. But then there was a statement given on Twitter, and I don't know. I think I myself and a few other people found that the statement was worded really weirdly. It was like a little confrontational. Agree to disagree. Maybe in hindsight, maybe I shouldn't have kicked the hornet's nest. But I felt like it was worded a bit aggressively, and so I jumped to the defense of the Scottish TOs, and the team owner saw it, replied, had a little bit go at me, told me to play my bracket instead of causing drama on Twitter, like quote tweet retweeting and all that. And so I went to play my bracket, right? Like I was like, I'm in the tournament. I played my bracket. I got some wins. I got some L's. I think I lost to Risky Luck and Arsene Wenger, so it's great going to Scotland just to lose to one of my best mates from London. But yeah, so that stuff happened, and afterwards I was like, you know what? I'm not done with this. I'm done with my bracket now. So finished my bracket, go on Twitter, and I was like, blah blah blah, like just started firing back. Hit him with like shoot out of my mentions, boomer. Like I was pissed. I was not taking this down rightly, and I got a few obscenities thrown at me as well because things started getting a little bit more personal. Like I like to say that he started making it personal, and I wasn't gonna take it lying down. So I got called a rat. He knows all about my rat ways and everything. Jesus. And then I got called the Littlefinger of the UK FGC, and I got just told to scary away or whatever. Yeah, I threw a pun in the last post and just told him to get lost effectively. But then the stuff that happened after that was quite funny because the said team owner, instead of DMing me or anything or trying to have a chat to resolve this, he went to Vern. he messaged Vern. He went over my head to try to message Vern to try to get me in trouble. Which, gotta say, bit scummy, but makes it really funny because Vern doesn't care.
Sure, of course.
Vern messaged me saying, "Can you please stop poking him? He's annoying me in my messages." So that happened, and then those kind of things. Most of the thread is deleted. Okay. The person did DM me afterwards, and after some little bit more raging, was like, I'm happy to delete this. And I refused to, because everything I said in that thread, I still stand by. I don't throw words out in the wind. If I say something, I try to always have meaning behind it. If I promise something, or if I'm talking about something, I try to only speak if I have evidence or if I'm sure of what I'm saying. I still make mistakes. Sometimes I'm off the mark, and I usually try to admit it when I am. But in this case, you know what? Nah. I'm still to this day set in stone. I was right. Maybe could have worded it slightly better, but I'll still stand behind what I said. And the thread, my part of the thread is still there. His responses are all deleted. But there's one that makes me look really bad, and he's left that one. So that was the classic. That story's been told so many times at this point.
I know who you're talking about, but because I think I
remember.
I think I remember when that was actually going down.
Yeah, 2019. It's not the weirdest thing that's been said about me. There was another thing before, and I'm not gonna go into circumstances of this one because this was a very, very grim situation that should have never happened in the FGC. But there was a line said about someone being in bed with someone else and talking about their mutual distaste for Elf. And I remember reading that once. It was Twitlongers going back and forth because of some accusations. And it was a shitty situation. But I remember reading that line and just thinking, this has now gone beyond the point of ridiculous. How have I lived in someone's head rent-free so much? They were using me for Riz. I don't know if I managed to cockblock someone remotely. How does that work, right? How does that even happen? All I do is help run a local. It just happened, right? Mad drama. Luckily, it's a few years behind me at this point. I like to think I've mellowed down as I got a little bit older. A little bit.
We're at the start of C4. I don't know if you know C4, but London commentator. He's at the start of his fucking villain arc now. It's incredible to see. His Twitter has become that's my new Netflix show. C4's Twitter. Definitely recommend if you don't follow C4, go follow him because he just fucking shit talks.
The thing is, I respect it because when I do it, I get stressed. I don't like confronting people about being dumbasses. That's why usually I hope they just don't be an idiot most of the time. That will make my life so much easier. I don't like calling things out, but sometimes when I notice there's something shitty happening behind the scenes, or even in front of the scenes, and nobody's calling it out. It's we're a community of people. If we let things slide, it's going to make the whole community worse for it. So somebody's got to say it, and most people aren't going to, because why would you risk confrontation or whatever? I'll do it. Hell, I've had people subtweet it multiple times at this point, people telling me I have terrible takes, or I get involved in things I shouldn't be getting involved in. Cool. If it ends up in a better community, even if it's just my local community, because people feel safer, because if they don't think that people running it are assholes, that's fine. I'll take the risk of that. I'll take the stress of it. I've had a few people. I think the thing that really solidified that I should be doing this going forward, at least when I think it's important and right to do. I had a few people come up with TLBT finals. They're like, "Oh, I'm thankful for the stuff that you call things out on Twitter. Sometimes there's some really bad takes and there's some shitty people in the community, and it's important to make sure that they don't spread that stuff."
Fair.
And I heard it and I was like, damn, I never expected anybody to say this. So it's just nice. It's nice to know that my stupid Twitter account, which is stupid 99% of the time, has actually made some kind of a good difference. I didn't expect it to. I don't expect it to be a thing going forward, really. Most of my takes are terrible, but occasionally I say the one good thing, right?
That's all you need. That's all you need, man. Just screenshot and show it around, man.
Hey guys, this is Drift. Thanks for listening to this episode of Fuzzy Guard. If you haven't already, subscribe to our social media channels and you'll never miss a shot with Sam. Don't forget to hit that like button or give us 5 stars and share your thoughts in that comment section below.
My cat got into trouble today. She was
What did they do?
killing robins in one of the neighbors' things. But then we found out that she's been feeding her, and she complained. She was like, "Your cat is killing robins in our garden." Like, you're like, but you're feeding her. Like, you're teaching her to be around, and then you don't want her around. I don't know what you're...
The consequences of my actions. Oh no.
Yeah, so my girlfriend was just telling me about it, and she was like, "Yeah, we're gonna go down tomorrow and just explain, like, stop feeding the fucking cat, like, if you don't want the cat around, you know." Yeah, real life is weird, isn't it?
Yes, listen, that's one way to put it, and I'm not about to disagree.
We live in this, like, it's a newly gentrified part of Dublin, so, like, there's a lot of, like, old, really rich people that live here, and we had a lady call to the door one time, and because we share a mains plumbing line, and she said, "Oh, we've been having a couple of blockages in the plumbing line, and I just wanted to let you know that it's probably caused by baby wipes being flushed down the toilet." And we were like, "Oh, that's no problem because we don't have a baby here." Like, and she said, "Well, it's probably also caused by little toilet paper." I was like, "What?" She was like, "Yeah."
What's inside little toilet paper? What?
She was just saying, like, the cheap toilet paper is probably what's blocking the drains. I was like, you have had too much money for far too long. Like, if you think that little toilet paper is the problem with plumbing, like, or like that's the cause of the blockages in pipes, like,
Is this a self-admittance, Sam? Do you use little toilet paper?
I honestly think we just grab whatever's there. Like, so my girlfriend works for the legal department for one of the shops, but because of that, we get a staff discount. So that's just where we do our weekly shop, and it's not little. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say it. I don't know. I should probably ask her that.
No, that's fine. Don't take it.
It's actually the government. No, but yeah, she. So, I mean, we don't use little toilet paper, but only because we have a staff discount. It's not like we're above little toilet paper. Yeah, it was so funny to have that interaction with a real human. Like, this person actually believes that. Like, I was like, damn, that's old money. Like, you know.
It is weird. I don't know. I mean, I had a few interactions like that as well. As many at uni. I think uni is a big one where you have a very big discrepancy in income for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I mean, I come from a really poor family back in Poland, right? I mean, it wasn't. No, it was actually still pretty bad in Poland. I was gonna say it wasn't that bad. No, it was pretty bad. I remember my parents telling me, like, when my younger brother was born, that there were days where they wouldn't eat because they had to feed us.
Damn.
And they ended up here, and it's not that much better. Like, I'm in a better position now financially. My parents are still in a bit of a tough one. But even me, like, I'm at the moment I'm supporting my partner because she's got a disability. So it's hard, right? But then at uni, the level of dissonance between people of different backgrounds, I was like, bro, like, I'm here happily eating like pasta every day just to get through, right? And people were like saying mad things or just I don't know, just being really spoiled. It's just weird to me.
Yeah,
that's how I grew up.
I don't like, so because obviously I don't come from money either. Like, I mean, almost the same. We were very poor Irish. Like, though when I hear people talking about like stuff and like actively complaining about shit, like, you know, like I'm like, y'all need to just take a step back and learn how, like, you know, everybody else lives, like, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I was about to tell a story, but I'm gonna just get more people in trouble here now. Like, I better not put them on the internet. But yeah, I don't know. And I suppose it's kind of the same with the FGC. Like, I mean, there's definitely a lot of backgrounds represented.
It is, but I think like part of it, like knowing like remembering your roots and where you came from, both in regards to the FGC and your personal life. I think it's a really good grounding mechanism. I think there's a lot of people that reap the benefits of their locals and the regionals and such, They grow from it. They use it as a platform. They get better because obviously they go over and practice and play people, but they never really give anything back. It's just you're taking things, but you're never giving back to the community in a sense. Even like simple things. Players are really bad at retweeting events or sharing them, even through like voice of mouth, even through like Discord and stuff. People are really bad at this. Like, I've been meaning to call people out on this for years, but this one I can't be bothered. We're about to close shop anyway. What's the point, right? I might do it just out of pettiness. But people just generally don't do it. Like, for let's say if we have 60 people turning up, if every person retweeted, that's 60 retweets. That's 60 people, especially if we're getting like players of a bigger magnitude. That's great.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't do that. Even like people like, they reach a certain level of stardom, if we can call it stardom in the FGC. Like, come on, we're all part of a niche subgenre of gaming. Like, none of us are
We're
stupid.
niche of the niche. I keep saying, like,
Yeah, exactly, right? And it kind of like, come on, like you came from this area, you came from this local, like, give something back. I'm not saying you have to do what I did and then end up stuck for 5 years TOing, commentating, writing software and like other stuff and designing things. That's fine. Don't do that. That's too much. I mean, if you want to, do it because someone needs to do it. But split the workload with other people or something. But then there's the opposite of it. Like, for our last Stealth event, Rukaga was just streaming and advertising it because we're trying to hit 48 people for the dojo, so the points would go up, right? And yeah, you're just advertising on stream. You use like message of being like, oh yeah, just don't worry, I'll get another person. It's fine, we're only like a person or two off. And I was like, I have so much love for that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, Rukang definitely is one of the good
simple
guys.
Things. 100%.
Yeah. There's a couple of really nice guys in it, but I don't know. Like, I mean, what would be your side of the argument in terms of like the getting more esports into the FGC? Because I know that a lot of people are very much opposed to it. Putting in more money, but you do lose the community feel to it, but everything gets bigger, you know?
So I think it's kind of weird, right? Because I think when I originally came in, I was maybe more like the players that do say like, oh, inject more money into the FGC, make the events bigger, like clean up the act a bit, maybe get the esports people in, right? Get the suits on, like we'll do commentary in suits. Let's go. I'll drop puns with a tie on. It doesn't make a difference, right? But the more I'm around, the more I think, like if anything, we should remove all money from it. Just get rid of any all money. Like, keep it strictly community, keep it strictly hobby. At a certain level, maybe. Obviously, high echelon, like people should still get paid, both talent and players. But at like low levels, the fact that it's a community, I think, grounds people and just keeps it like a social gathering on top of the game. Because that's what it should be, in my opinion. I think when you have a good community and you have a good group of people and a good background, and especially a good venue, I think a good venue makes a big difference as well. You're coming to locals for the fact that you're meeting cool people and you're just chilling.
Yeah,
I'll travel multiple hours just to hang out with people I enjoy hanging out with, because that's a big part of the experience.
Yeah,
maybe I won't even get to play the game because I'll be TOing or doing something else, but the trip will feel valuable because I've spent some time with people I enjoy spending time with.
Sure, but
there's a time and place as well for the esports stuff. If we want to run big name invitationals, I think I have no issue with it. Do it, but just run it as a separate thing. I think upper bracket is always going to be the spirit, and it would be great to keep it around at local level, at regional level, and then obviously sort of the premier level with master events, or I think they're called premier first for SF5 as well for CPT.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think it's going to take a lot more support from publishers to expand on things, because TOs are already working at like maximum capacity. Money is a big thing. You gotta pay your staff most of the time, and a lot of time you can't even afford to do that. A lot of staff end up working as volunteers because the money's coming in for, let's say, prize pools and such, but it's not coming in for upkeep of the event. You're lucky if you break even. forget making money from it. So, there's a bunch of stuff like that. You can't expand if the basic structure of the community and the scene doesn't get paid. It doesn't work.
Sure, but then like I would argue that there are some of the bigger TOs in the world all started from that and decided that they wanted to do something bigger. And I wouldn't say that they forgot the community, but like I in my opinion that there's room for both, but I think the idea of boycotting events because there's too much money in them is the most ridiculous thing I've
Oh no,
ever
no, no,
heard.
no, 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 no! I think anybody that does that just slap yourself in the head. What are you doing? Like that's just silly. I'd never go into that direction. I think I have no issue. Like if somebody wants to clean up their act and get like golf commentators on the thing, or like limit swearing or limit mentions of something, or have like clean ad reads, I have no issue with it. It's your event. Run it the way you want. Like if that brings sponsors in and it helps you run your event, bro, I will clap for you. 100% go off. Because that's ultimately you're keeping your event alive, right? I'm never going to judge that. It might not be my style of it. I mean, ultimately, if I have to clean up my act for commentary, I can do that as well. That's not difficult. Putting a suit on and making sure I don't say anything politically incorrect or any suspect jokes. That's fine. I already do my best to not do that. Like we don't swear on the big productions either. Like that's the easiest rule that you can follow. It's not like it's suddenly difficult to clean that up.
But like if you think like there are some TOs out there that get paid like for doing events. Like there's some TO teams in Europe that get paid for doing events and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
that's great.
But what then would you feel about if they came to do your event and you wanted them to run your show, and then they said, okay, if you want the team, it's going to cost this much. You say, well, we don't have that in the budget. And then they say, well, sorry, bro, we won't be at your event, or we won't be working at your event. Like, do you think that's...
I mean, I have no issue with it. The thing is, like, I can't cry about somebody else's time. It doesn't belong to me, right? Their time doesn't belong to me. If I can't afford them, and if they have a family to feed as well, I'm sure, and I can empathize with it. If they cannot run something for free, be it comms, be it TOing, be it production, that's fine. I understand. There's no issue with it. There's no bad blood, no beef, no anything like that. Because I completely understand it. Like there were aspects. Sometimes I'll pick up a show because I could use some spare change to pay off something in my life as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I might turn something else down because I don't want to stress out, and it's my time as well. Maybe I just want some free time. So I completely understand it. I don't think there's an issue with it. If people want to only look for opportunities with money because maybe they like money, even if it's just that simple, that's cool with me as well. Ultimately, their time doesn't belong to me. I can't hold them guilty of anything for that. It's their labor, right? They deserve to get paid. If I could pay all the elf stuff, I 100% would. Unfortunately, I'm not really in a position to do so. The best thing, like I tried, like with casters, for example, I tried to provide benefits in other ways. So I always said, if you want to use our VODs, you 100% have the rights to do so. Like we won't stop you from it. If you need a reference or anything like that, like I'll vouch for you. Like people know me in the community, I'll vouch for you. If you want a VOD review, I will go through the entire set that you've done and write you feedback. You've done this correctly. You can improve on this, etc. And I've done it for people. You could, like everyone that's done Elf, anybody that's requested it, I've done it.
Nice.
Spongy, Dark Sonic, Salam, Chop, etc. Like I've done it for a bunch of people, and I'll continue doing it for people if they ask. Like that's the one benefit I can provide. Like if you work with us, there you go.
Nice. God, man, this episode should have come out a month ago. You would have had a couple of people. Because I know there's a lot of people that DM me looking at how to get started. And there was a guy, he DM'd me and he was like, oh, there's no local scene around where I am. And I was like, oh, where are you from? I was like, South London. I was like, what? Go north like an hour. There's an incredible local scene there. And like,
biggest in the country, yeah.
I was like, I'd said, like, talk to Vern. Vern will help you. Like, like if you're looking to get on the mic and learn commentary, you might get on pools or something, but you'll have an experience to maybe sit down with, you know, Bebop or Dragon or yourself or Abominable, any of these like great commentators and stuff. He was just like, yeah, there's no scene around. I was like, how deep have you looked? You know. Did you Google?
I mean,
it?
listen, if they tapped in South London fighters, nothing would have come up probably. So
Who? But he said there was nothing. I was like,
it's the thing is, it has like London has dried up a little bit for events, and I think at the time of recording this podcast, there has been a little bit of a debacle around UK Tekken.
oh yeah,
which
that's shit.
I couldn't help myself, and I did get partially involved, but I didn't cause drama this time. It wasn't me. It wasn't me that caused anything. I just tried to provide some like positivity into the mix and stuff. But yeah, like the scene is suffering a little bit. I think COVID killed a lot of venues. I know Wales got hit really hard of it because they lost 3 venues, I think, in Cardiff.
Really?
Yeah,
Jesus.
there's been a few closing down, either during COVID or post-COVID. I mean, even looking at London, like we used to have so many locals. Meltdown used to run things regularly. Elf, WSO was running things for Street Fighter, but there was like locals sprinkled all over the place as well. And now we're gone, and suddenly everyone's in despair. It's like, damn.
Yeah,
I mean, sorry guys.
I saw the Belong guys are looking to organize some more UK stuff, which is going to be awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, this is the thing. Like, there's a bunch of venues all over the place, right? Belong is all over the country. I mean, there's only about 1 in Wales and I think 1 in Scotland, which isn't ideal. I think they had to scale down a little bit at one point as well. But there's a bunch all over England, north, south, west, east, whatever. And they're good venues. They're all consoles and standardized PCs. So, assuming you can bring enough people and you basically use the venue fee to pay for the actual entry to Belong arena, you should be fine. I think that should be a fine venue. I don't know how streaming would work, really. I mean, it'd probably take a little bit to set up. It's not impossible. It's been done before, Belong venues, because I've commentated from Belong venues before.
Yeah, you did the Arena Clash thing, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of like Belong Cups. So it's 100% achievable. I think they're good venues. I'm debating trying to run something in Portsmouth, but hey, you haven't heard it here yet. I'm just thinking about it. I haven't done anything yet. I might take a break from TOing for a few years.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if anybody is looking to set up an event, England is definitely, for the amount of top players versus like population, it's the country to do it in now. And like, I mean, the commentary talent is insanely good. Like, you know, but the whole production, like, I mean, Jesus, I can think of 3 production teams that could do like super high quality events just off the top of my head, like now, without even looking. All based in the UK. I don't know. It seems right up there for the taking.
Yeah. I mean, even if you want to do it at a low level, like just using the venue fee to absorb a lot of the costs is not a bad idea to do that with. And in some cases, especially, it helps if you have TOing experience and the publishers know you. But you could talk to Namco to get some keys for the games if necessary. There's venues like SideQuest in London, which are like a series of gaming cafes. You could hire out a few PC, work with those. Like, if you can bring in enough numbers, or at least, you know, again, pay the venue fee to justify the stay there, then it's fine. There's a bunch of other venues as well, all over the place. Not all are great for locals, I guess, and some will have more stringent rules and regulations, whatever. But it's not impossible. It's effort. And the thing is, ideally, you want a team of people. You don't want to do those things alone. It's too stressful. With Elf, we had, oh god, if I had to list off everyone that worked on Elf in the last 6 years, like, I'd be here for a while. I'm trying to get every name from Vern because I'm trying to do like a credit list for it on the final stream when I'm closing it off.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people. It's been a lot of people over the years, and like, even excluding commentary talent, because commenters are usually like, there's most of commentary, right? Because there's so many of us. But looking at the bracket runners from back in the day, like, I remember people that when I came in, they were like the bracket runners in the day, and then I've outlasted them as a player and as an admin as well. But I still remember them because obviously they did great work and stuff. There's been so many people like this. It would have been impossible. There are people that never set foot on English soil that have helped run Elf.
Jesus.
Yeah. It's at one point when we were running a lot of online stuff, when we were running TNT, and especially during COVID, when we were struggling for for workforce as well, because we were all working from home, doing it all from home, and it was hard. Like I was stuck in one room for all of COVID, so it was a pain. We had Churchmayer from Germany, I think, helping, and then Bams. You might know Bams. He's a French Steve player, photographer as well. So
I think
he helped a lot. Yeah, he came Golden Letters. He came TWT finals as well, I think.
Cool.
So people like that, hats off to them. They weren't even in our country, and they were still helping out and still helping run the scene. Because at one point, to be fair, Elf was a lot more like it was Elf, but we were running EU events. So I guess it was, I don't know, European London fighters. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there are some great talents in the European scene, and I think they definitely don't get enough credit. Like, it's very easy being a commentator because we're the ones on camera and stuff, but good.
And you get all the credit because you're on camera, right?
No,
everyone sees you.
But like, I mean, good production people are so good. Like, you know how good your production team is until like when you get a bad production team. Like, people are just like not muting their mics and stuff and just talking like behind the scenes and stuff. Like, I think good production teams are worth their weight in gold. They're incredible. Shout outs to a couple of the guys who've helped me out, production teams. I always make friends with the production guys as well. I don't know, I just like them.
And you have to. They're like the top of the food chain. Like as a commentator, fair. You're at the bottom of the food chain. You're literally the insect. Like everything comes from above you. You have no say. You say what they want you to say, and you follow the rules. And then you say thank you after that.
Damn,
because they're the gods of the machine, right? That's the thing.
You would love to talk to C4. C4 would have a great conversation with you.
Definitely need to do that sometime.
Yeah. He's got a really good podcast. Shout out to the Castle. He has this idea of is it players, production, and commentary, the trifecta of a broadcast, and he thinks commentators are the least important. Like that.
Yes.
I don't agree. What?
That's the one part of the broadcast you can remove.
How many times have you watched a broadcast without commentators?
I mute the broadcast sometimes.
I mean,
sometimes I'm just listening to music.
I mean, I understand, but why then do I keep getting booked for shows? If it was the lowest part, like, like.
No, but it's so if we were like, imagine if we're cutting down, right? Like, okay. So it's not. I'm saying that it's unnecessary. I think it's very good value, especially like the thing is a lot of time commentary is more for the general audience as opposed to, let's say, the top level audience.
Completely.
So there'll be a part of the audience like the pro players where they know most of this stuff. They probably know unless the commentary is more on like an entertaining level, like let's say Aris. Mm-hmm. They're probably not watching for that commentary really, so they might have it muted or they might just blank it. But if we're just talking about like making things as bare bones as possible, you need production to run the actual stream, and you need the players to be on stream.
Okay.
With this, you could run the stream. You could have content for people to watch. People would still tune into.
I mean, don't know if people tune in.
People. So there is a whole side of YouTube where people take the replays from like Guilty Gear or Street Fighter 5. Replays that are publicly accessible, like Daigo and other pro players, and just re-upload them with no commentary. By the way, people watch those because they're just high-level sets. People will tune into that stuff.
Would they?
I rest my case.
Tune in,
it's on YouTube.
Would you tune in live? Because I would argue that there's no production
live or in
that
live or in the VOD. I mean, you still have to keep things going. You can show ads in between if you want to. At that point, it's a lot.
But for
a lot more
that
simple.
example, the YouTube one of just ripping things and re-uploading them.
Yeah.
There's no production there either. So would you
Oh no,
argue
there isn't,
that,
because we're directly ripping.
would you argue that then if I paid you £20 to set up a camera and like just had the game feed, like,
Listen, it's low level production, but still production at that point. You're producing a stream, right? Like you're making a stream happen. It's low level. It's like as bare bones as you could make it, right? It's just a feed of the game with maybe not even the names on it.
yeah,
It's very bare bones, but I would argue it's still production. You're still producing a stream.
yeah. I mean,
It's stretching the definition to like what we're used to, though. Yes, yeah.
I don't know.
It's a very extreme
I
example.
think that there's a lot of argument. Obviously, I'm always going to be biased because I am a commentator, like, you know. So, but I think that production and casters are at an equal level. Because I think that without production, obviously the stream doesn't go on, but without casters, you don't get viewers. That leads then to
I don't think that's true.
really.
I really don't think that's true. I think commentators can bring in an audience. I think people will tune in, like if there's a caster they like, right? Like I'm not gonna disagree with that. I think that's perfectly valid, perfectly true. But I don't think that like if you remove casters, suddenly you get no views. I think that's just not how it works.
I mean, you might get the kind of top players like that are just coming in because they see this person is playing that person or whatever. But like, do you know, like the stream isn't for the top player because they're probably at the event.
Would you watch a sports match if there's no commentators?
I think they did.
Would you watch
that? They this.
Yeah, but what would you specifically?
No, well, I don't really watch sports, so.
Okay, right, now I picked the wrong person.
Yeah.
I was trying to draw a comparison because like a lot of time, like if I usually don't watch sports either. The only thing I will usually watch is F1, F1 or like World Cup or whatever. I watch F1 quite regularly, and so like, you know, Martin Brundle and I forgot the other guy's name. Damn it. They add amazing value to the broadcast, and they're great, and you know they're talented and they're very experienced racers themselves. But I would just happily just watch F1 with them muted, and sometimes I do if I'm chilling in Discord with friends. We're just doing a little watch party of it. I'll just mute the casters because I'm talking to my friends or whatever, and I'll still happily enjoy the happenings. Right? You're losing some value, 100%. I think it's impossible to deny it, but I see. I'm gonna say I'm a little less biased because I've been on both sides of the fence.
Okay.
I produce and I stream. Well, I produce and I cast, sorry. Which makes it like I've been on both ends. But the one thing I've always been taught, because I've had the pleasure of working with some people that like work with like TV productions and stuff like that, and like listening to their experiences and learning from them has been fantastic. And I've always thought, you know, like ultimately as a caster, I never call the shots. I never tell them when to change a scene. I never tell them when to go to a specific scene or anything like that. They tell me a scene is ready. Lead us into it. Ultimately, they're preparing. They're calling the shot for me to do it. It's almost like a sniper spotter team, right? I'm at their mercy. I'm the sniper, but I can't shoot until the spotter like tells me what to do. Maybe that's a bad analogy. I'm not in the military, but I'm just trying to find something so that we can.
I mean,
make
that doesn't happen at every
show. We work in harmony.
Yeah,
huh?
I mean, I agree, but like, it's so like there's been times that I've worked with like production teams that are massive production teams, and they'll say, okay, you let us know when we can go for a break or something. And it's like, so as you're in the middle of a thought, and then, okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to cut to a quick break. See you in 5 minutes or whatever. And that's when the broadcast, like, that's when they change.
Yeah, but they did tell you to let them. So, like, they're giving you a signal to start cutting to a break by saying that. So they're already prepared with a break. That in itself is the sign.
Fair.
If they didn't tell you, and like you were mid match, or maybe not mid match, but just match ended, and you go like, oh, we're gonna cut to a break, but they didn't tell you, they might not have a break scene ready.
Fair.
They might still be doing something else. They might be updating other things. Mm-hmm. Obviously, with a big production team as well, it gets really hectic, and it's a high stress job really on both ends. But yeah, I don't know. I think the level of like effort and things that goes into production, I think that just puts it a little. They're not like your boss but you ultimately have to go with them because they're the ones in charge of it, in a sense. Like we only see what they're showing us, whereas they see the entire big picture.
Yeah.
That's the only way I'm getting at. Don't worry. I'm not trying to get you fired. No. 100% keep hiring Sam. I think he's doing a great job. Like, I'm not trying to say that get rid of Sam.
I mean, look,
I'm just saying.
I've had this conversation with other commentators as well, and there are a lot of people that do agree with you here, but I don't know, man. I think that like 90% of people who are tuning in don't know what's going on. Like, don't understand the game at a super high level. Like, you know, like, we're obviously big fans of the game, and we watch hours and hours of content and stuff, but like, Tekken sold 10 million copies. Europe is the highest region, or the like most sales were in Europe or whatever. Think about how many top players. If you start breaking down frame data for somebody, a random room full of people that you know all own a copy of a game, how many people are going to keep up with you? Like,
Most won't. It's a very small percentage of it.
Of course. So if somebody tunes into a broadcast, if they say, "Oh wow, there's a Tekken tournament in Birmingham, that's crazy," clicking on it, if it's just a feed of Tekken, they're not like, okay, top players are going to be like, dude, that's Arsenal and Ash versus whoever, Joker. Like, this is a great game to watch. Like, but the other 90% of people don't understand that backstory, that kind of the drama that's about to bring. Like,
yeah, we're missing like the history and like the additional context outside of the match, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think in terms of like every game has spectator value, right?
Sure.
Some games are a bit easier to watch than others. I think some games are just intrinsically fun to watch,
Rocket League.
which is I think why. Oh yeah, Rocket League is great to watch. That's actually a really good example. You could watch Rocket League without commentary if you wanted to, because the game is entertaining enough. And I would argue Tekken is the same. Commentary still adds very good value to it, but I think the games by themselves are already really, really entertaining. There's a reason why like Ochoto on YouTube or whatever his name is does compilations of people's clips with no commentary pretty much. It's just an aggregation of people's clips of
really
just
good
like hype
point.
plays. Things like slow-mos. People, if the game is hype, and keep in mind, Namco is trying to do their best to make the game exciting. Tekken 8's got a bunch of slow-mos, camera things, hit sparks. It's a spectacle, right? It's just a light show in front of you. Watching the gameplay for Tekken 8, even without a commentary track or anything, I'm hyped. I'm pumped for his game. I want to see more of it.
That's fair.
I've rewatched the same clips over and over again, right?
Yeah.
Because the game looks good. Not every game is like this, though, mind you. I think there are certain things that are just a bit easier. Like, if I'm watching a poker tournament, and most of the time I'm like, what's going on here? Like, I understand the rules of poker. I know how the game works. But, like, the deeper mind games and the strategies and things like that.
Dota is the...
Yeah, Dota or League as well.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
hard to watch games. They're really hard to watch. Oh, someone popped an ability. Suddenly all the screen is red. What's going on?
Yeah.
Like, stuff like that. Games aren't just difficult from a complexity sense because there's a lot of things happening. I think commentary makes a bit more sense on that front, but I think fighting games are just really easy to watch. Mostly.
Do you know what? Breaking that down to me, talking about Ochoto and, you know, the trailers, because obviously there's no commentary on them, and yet, like, I mean, how many views do they have? 1 million each or something? Like, you know, I never thought about that shit.
Got him, guys.
I might be wrong here. Shit. Maybe my job isn't as secure as I thought. Shit.
I think the thing is, like, you're completely correct, and no one can deny the fact that commentators bring value to the broadcast, be it from brand recognition, be it from skills, be it from adding context to the match, like you said, Joker and Arsenal Ash playing. What happened before? Like, you're adding so much depth to the match that didn't exist. Like, if you're watching just a game, you're seeing just what's happening inside the game. It's a short-term picture. But the moment you add that context of, like, they fought here, and this guy keeps coming out on top, and now this is their final fight. This is whoever does this gets into the LVT. Like, now you've driven this, like, deep narrative, and you've put stakes in a game that had no stakes, really.
Yeah.
Because if it's just a game or a set, there's no stakes. Somebody won, somebody lost. Nice. Put on the next match. But now that you've added those stakes and that history and the rivalries and everything else, you've provided so much depth. So, like, it's still important. Like, I'm not saying casters are, you know, useless. I'm just saying that we're bottom of the food chain, but that food chain still exists because we're at the bottom of it. You know, we're still a necessary part of it.
That is food for thought now, PUNLIFE. That is that's gonna make me think. C4, I know you're watching. I fucking know you're watching, dude. If you tweet me about this. Yeah, C4 he had a wild point or something. I can't even remember what it was. Now, to be fair, it was a year ago and he has changed his mind on it, but he didn't think commentators should be paid. And I was like, you what? Now, I'm very biased in this one because, you know, I like to pay rent. But, you know, he was like, you know, we're just another piece of the puzzle. Like, there's a lot of photographers that don't get paid for doing, like, incredible work. This is just his, or it was his side before, because I know you're watching C4.
I mean, I could, depending on how he made his argument, I could potentially agree. Like
C4 is very convincing as well. He'll have you over at the
yeah. I've seen some of the clips. I've seen some of the clips. I think I remember a little bit of his discussion from when he originally posted it, and I was thinking like, damn, like he's got a point here. But like if the way I've looked at it when I was working with Valve, and there were a few opportunities where we actually managed to get people paid, especially when we were working with like the NA side of Tekken, when we worked with Team Spooky and NYC Tekken. Shout out to them. Great.
Still have my the coin.
Oh, I have it as well. Wait, where is it? Oh,
So-
I put it somewhere. I'm gonna find it.
Look at that, yo.
Damn it! Oh, you got it. You got it. Nice.
You got it with the New York City Tekken thing on the back.
They're also great. I have mine on somewhere around my big Calyx. But yeah, like thanks to that collaboration, like we were actually able to get some people paid. And that was great. But like every time I worked with Valve, when things like that happens, like I just wanted to get our staff members paid first if possible. Like I'm chill with whatever. Like my job pays enough to get by.
Yeah.
For now at least, until recession hits even harder. But you know, it's the ever people that deserve the effort, and yeah, photographers usually don't get enough credit for the work we do, especially considering they're so ripe for having their work stolen from them for no reason.
Yeah.
So that's a hard one always.
Yep. Unfortunately, yeah. It just happens we're the camera bitches. We sit in front of the camera, so. Hey,
I sit behind it sometimes. That's why you should get into production. It's fun. It's really fun. You just press buttons in the back of the thing.
Dude, I have never in my life heard a production man having fun during the show. like my job is way easier to just like, hey everyone, having a good time or whatever, and then all of my ears would be like, what did you just say, Sam? We don't. Okay, 2 seconds. And then I'm like, uh-oh.
To be fair, like obviously, I'm not nowhere near the level of skill that the high level production guys are. But for Elf, I think because I've always wanted to make it easier on like Robin and other production people that we had, I just try to simplify everything as much as possible. It's like we have like 9 scenes at most. Punduction does most of the work for you. Just press load. It will fill all the boxes for you. The overlays are already prepared. I've done all the scene collections for them, so it's just literally you just press start and then you just roll over the shots and you should have a good time. Assuming nothing breaks, which it shouldn't, because I usually triple check it. It's a good time, right? Like you just sit behind. Like I was doing production last Elf, and I was just relaxing. I was just listening to the casters, what they were saying, judging their jokes, and occasionally shaking my head in disapproval. But yeah, it can be a good time at a certain level. Once you automate things and have like a good flow, it can be a little less stressful. And because I was sitting in the dark, it's like no one was coming up to me. I was just relaxing. I was on my phone halfway through production. It's like, oh yeah, what's going on my timeline?
Nice.
It's great. You should try it.
Well, that sounds lovely. That sounds absolutely lovely. Yeah, I know that the sweaty production teams like that. You know? But I suppose different strokes or whatever. How that phrase goes, like, you know, what's the worst production you've ever seen? Have you been involved in any like absolutely terrible productions, or?
So do you mean like, okay, so scene? Oh, I don't. That's a really you put me on the spot with that question actually. Worst I've been a part of.
You don't have to mention any names, okay?
So it was an online tournament for a certain South America qualifier, and it was me and Bebo.
Oh,
And it's not that production was bad. I think the production team was great. It's the fact that we were stuck filling for 2 hours.
the
Nearly.
worst.
I have no idea. Keep in mind, this is like it was like 2 a.m. or something. We were
Oh,
because
no.
it was South America time.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we were starting really late,
Oh,
and
God.
Bebop has the same horror story because we were doing it together. It was hard. Like we were just filling. It was not only we're obviously working with a region that it's not ours. Like I've done my research. We both done our research, or rather, I've done my research and shared it with Bebop. Sorry, Bebop, we are like that. But I made sure to make sure he's informed and I'm informed because obviously I wanted to do good by the South American community. But no, it was just the delay on it was insane. Like it was just going
Two
and going. It was
hours?
filling and filling. We did it. We just
Jesus.
about did it, and then like the thing properly kicked off, and we had some matches and stuff. It was a strain. That was easily like one of the hardest. In terms of like seeing ones that I wasn't a part of, I don't know. I think production level in the FGC has gotten steadily better. The thing that still makes me cringe sometimes is like really bad posters, and I guess they're kind of basically non-existent. District G was really bad at this. Some of the District G posters would crack me up because it was just like font, like one font here, a different font here, like some random color. Like there was no cohesive hairstyle or anything like that. Like just keep it simple. Just put a picture of Jin and like your titles, whatever. Just don't go overboard. But the funniest thing, and I suppose this isn't really production, but they somehow managed to run the same event twice. So they had the War series. So District G War 2 was actually my first tournament. It wasn't my first offline, but it was my first tournament. So I went to that, and that was cool. And then War 3 happened, and I went to that as well. And then somehow War 3 happened again. I think they somehow forgot the numbering. They forgot they've
Oh.
already run War 3, and so they run War 3 again. And I just remember seeing that, and I was like, this is way too funny. This is actually genuinely, how does this happen?
Oh, that's too good.
And then it's a legendary series of events for a number of reasons. It wasn't like the greatest event I went to, but like it was something. It was like a loud DJ and stuff. The vibe was very District G, but at the same time there was like money on the line,
There
like
was a
pro players
DJ
turned up and stuff.
like in the
Yeah, they had like loud music and a DJ like going over. It was kind of funny. It was a vibe. Like I can't say it was bad. I just think it was different. I think there is definitely an audience for those kind of events. I just remember Kane and Trench making this video. He was like, it was almost like trying to sell a fight, right? Like he was trying to sell the event. So I don't have, my phone is being used as a camera, but like, imagine this is my phone, right? So like, he was recording like this.
No way.
So his phone is from the bottom, right? And he's like talking like, oh yeah, he had some like dramatic music, and I love Kane, by the way. Kane, there's no shade to you. I love you to bits. But he has this weird angle where it's like filming from the bottom up into his face.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, so yeah, make sure you come to District G War 3. You humiliated me at Elf event. I'll have my revenge. I will dig a trench for all of you and bury you all in it. And it's like, listen, I respect Kane to bits, but it's so funny. It was the funniest shit I've ever seen in the scene. I remember seeing it, I was losing it. But there is an edit of that video where somebody saved it. Put like the little Snapchat like text thing where you had that like gray text bar.
Yeah.
And it just said, "I showed you my dick, please respond." It's just a still frame of Kane. It's still on Twitter. It's never been deleted. It exists. Like you can go and find it. It's the funniest image. And Kane took it well, to be fair. Like Kane is a champ, like one of the loveliest guys. Always travels, always does that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's such a funny moment.
God,
and it was an innocent moment as well. Like it was fairly early into 7. This is like the first year. So it was a different time. We were all bad at the game. Now only I'm bad at a game. So times change.
I keep getting my ass kicked in Tekken. I'm gonna have to like actually start practicing, like, because I changed my Steam name because people kept like DMing me that they bet me in ranked, and
Wait, were you actually getting most people? It's like, oh, I've been the commentator.
Yep.
Do I get to be the
No,
commentator now?
they would message me directly. They would be like, "Hey, good set. Your ID kind of sucks," and I'm like, "Thank you, sir. I'll remember your name forever." So I changed my name, and it worked for about an hour, I think. And then like this guy just just cleaned me up, and then just like friend request on Steam. I was like, he seemed like a nice guy or whatever. DM came in and he was like, "Hey man, GG's. I love your commentary." I was like, "Fuck."
Did you not clean your like past Steam names? Because if you change
You
the
can
name, it'll
do
show up
that?
in the past ones. Yeah, you can. Pretty sure you can.
Oh, I don't
I'll have to show you the tech off stream.
Yeah.
off recording.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you can do that. Listen, I feel a little bit bad that I've been getting that.
But dude, I get smashed up like badly, like, because obviously when I was playing Tekken, I hit my rank, and I was like, I can't remember, some blue rank, like, and took a break from playing, took a little sabbatical from ranked. I went back in and I was just not at that level anymore. But I went on. There's an Irish streamer, Lizzie. She's great, really, really.
Oh
funny.
yeah, I know Lizzie.
She was playing, and I was just here at the PC, and I said, "Oh, cool, Lily's live." Like, clicked on or whatever. I saw she was roughly about the same rank as me. I was like, she was like, "Oh, I can't find anyone." I was like, "Hold on, I'm booting up the game." Like, she fucking wiped the floor with me, like made me look like a small child or whatever. Eventually I had to just like dip out. It's like, "Oh hey, sorry, I have to go down to the shop." Like, left the thing and just sat there watching her stream for another 15 minutes, waiting for her to be like, "Yeah, wow, can we do Sam goes in there, that's so cool." And I was like, "Say it, Sam shit." I was like, it was like 5-0. Like, at that point I was like, I need to just get the fuck out, like, so my plan is to come in on Tekken 8.
See, I mean, I'm trying to get out the curve and just keep grinding now to get a little bit better again. I mean, the thing is, I think my level was actually quite good before I started coming. Oh, when I was starting commentary. I mean, hey, Rukang was always scared of playing me, so I'll take it as a compliment. He's still scared of me, to be fair. No, it's because I always mind game him. Like, I was playing him at Elf the other day. I'll just say every day. It was a few weeks. Sometime in the past. Sorry, I was not meant to use dates. Sometime in the past, I was playing Rukang. I was like, I lost the first game, and I was like, no, I can do this. I have faith. And so I just went and picked Suk in front of him. We were side by side as well. It was that kind of setup. And I picked Suk, and I like, there's a clip of this. I think I posted it, and he posted to his Instagram as well at one point. And it's me being sitting there on sharp and starting to smile, picking Suk, and then just like looking at him. And he's just smiling, trying to hold a stone face, but you can tell he's kind of just thinking like, what's happening? And he almost lost that game. I had him on final round. I'm so annoyed. I should have taken it. But he was telling me afterwards, he was really stressed because like, if nobody does that, who picks Rukang's favorite stage against him, right?
Sure.
So I think that's the thing. Like, I found when recently, and because I've been playing so much more, I found a rhythm that like suits me that I haven't had before, and I just find the game so much more fun. I key charge people. Not in that sense. I don't taunt them like after the game. I key charge them mid game and do setups.
You do that. I've seen you do the key charge rage.
I've done it on TWT streams, isn't it? I have no fear. Like Chicken Amaro eating that key charge running too. And it was great because I was watching restreams and stuff of it, and everybody's always confused as to what's happening. Especially like NA people that don't see this stuff happening. It's like, oh wait, PUNLIFE is the ICFC commentator, and then he just start key charging. MYK was losing his stuff. I remember watching the restream. Shout out to MYK if he ever hears this. And I just remember I key charged Abby at Golden Ladies, and he's just going like, "Oh, that's a spicy meatball!" I was losing it. I was just losing it afterwards. It's so good. But it's fun. It's one way to play the game. Nobody else plays like me, so it's a unique selling point, right? Yeah. Like commentary, you need a unique selling point.
Of course. Your key charge rage man, or key charge rage drive, fucking crazy shit, man.
It's great. I'm gonna do in Tekken A as well. I'm gonna find ways of breaking that game as well. So
yeah,
that's what it's all about. And then talk about it on commentary, right? That's a topic to talk about.
I have to do it. I
It's
have
a
to
tag.
do it. Yeah. As soon as you see anybody key charge. Do you remember Abel de Maestro? Do you remember him?
Yeah, the Eddie key charge into
Yeah.
the slide mix. Yeah. It
And
was
then
really good.
The down back 2-3. Sorry, I broke my rule. I'm not allowed to talk about Tekken. But yeah, he did a lot of key charging, didn't he?
He did a lot. He did almost a questionable amount of key charging. Even I was like raising an eyebrow. But hey, if it works, it works.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was when he started doing it against JDCR is when people started like, who the hell is this guy? You know?
It's a bit it's cheeky. It's cheeky for sure.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't, like a lot of these people, from what I heard about the arcades, because I was never in the arcades, but from what I've heard about the arcades, the people who give out about like the key charging as disrespect, they probably wouldn't have made it. Like, sorry guys, but even kicking corpses, they call it.
Corpse kicking, yeah.
Like, what the hell? That's not BM.
I mean, you know how like when you play Uno with your family, you have house rules.
Yes.
It's the Tekken house rules, isn't it? Throwing is BMing. Corpse kicking is BMing. I don't know what else. Like, I'm sure people have like their own perceptions.
Yeah, let's
So
have a real
it's
fight.
a
No
weird one.
juggles. Just pokes. Let's go.
I
Let's do
mean,
it.
do the real fight. You do the thing. I remember seeing a clip of like Needs More Coffee and someone else in Tag 2. Might have been Tekken Enthusiast. Just Death Fist jousting. The only move you're allowed to do is pull Death Fist.
That sounds great. Like, that actually sounds fun. I like that.
It's so much fun. It's great.
Yeah.
And it's a game mode you can replicate with your friends.
Yeah. All right, I'm now organizing a new UK-based tournament. Just Joust. Death Fist Joust. That's what I'm doing.
Get a league going for it. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, Chicken Chakra did something similar on stream. He did a unique thing where it was like a charity stream, and for one of the last few matches you had to play Paul, and before you did any other move, you had to do a trooper roll. So you do a trooper roll, and it would act like Starburst in a sense, where it would allow you to do any other move. So like Flower and someone else started doing trooper roll into like a pickup into another trooper roll as part of the combo, and then another thing, and they start making combos out of it. And it's like, this is such a simple rule. It's such a limited game mode, but people were actually like developing strats in real time for it.
Yeah.
It was so cool to see.
That is good.
Just tells you how creative Tekken players are, right? Or like FG players overall, not just Tekken.
Yep, definitely. I think video gamers, like, I mean, even Dive Kick, has some strats to it and stuff, like, yeah, we're in a good world, so it's a fun universe.
People love min-maxing in this world, yeah. If you just show them something and they'll find a way to optimize it.
Watch a Dark Souls
I suppose. Oh no, I know. I've watched the fair few. I suppose I can't really complain because I'm a programmer, and that's kind of what I do for a living as well.
Okay, but how have we not brought this up when you've mentioned Robin twice? I mean, I was about to say, did you know? But of course you know. She's like a world record holder in Hades speedrunning.
Yeah, I don't know if she is right now. She was at one point. I think she was definitely. She hit the top spot, and I think the strat has changed a little bit. And I think I'm not sure she's been speedrunning lately, but yeah, there was a bit where she was like going. She stopped on Tekken and just went straight into Hades speedrunning and did a fantastic job of it.
Yeah, she's like a person of note now in the speedrunning community.
Yeah, she's
Dude,
great.
I swear to God, it's like they replaced all the alcohol in his beers with gas. These have made me so gassy. Every like 5 minutes, I'm just like, yep. No, I'm listening. Yeah, good.
Oh,
very gassy.
Hopefully, the noise cancelling deals with any gases coming out.
Yeah, hey Drift, you might have a difficult edit ahead of you, sir. He came out to me because I was eating in the last episode. I can't even remember why. They were just like, I had chocolates or something here in front of me. I was just eating them. I got lost in the conversation. He just sent me a message.
Making his job hell.
Yeah, he was like, hey, listen, episode is uploaded now to YouTube. Don't ever fucking eat again on stream, like, or on recording.
God bless Drift. Lovely guy as well.
He's the dad.
All the respect for his hard work.
He's the dad. He's the dad of it, Fuzzy Guard. But yeah, I think that seems like a great enough place. We just hit the 2-hour mark, so if Drift does his job right, we'll probably be on 1 hour 30, I think. Just cut it all. Get rid of everything. But yeah, I think that's it. Is there anything that you want to shout out before we go? Obviously, the I don't know will it have happened already, but the East London Fighters, what's it called? Final fight.
Final fight. Yeah. That will be end of May, last weekend of May in 2023. So if anybody can, if you guys can make it, please sign up ASAP. If obviously I don't know when this is coming out, but hopefully you still have a chance to. If not, please tune in. It will be the last event under the Elf banner.
Or show up.
Yeah, or show up. Or anyway, listen, any support is good. Even just like retweeting it. I appreciate it. We want to make it as good as we can at the end. It's it's a culmination of years and years of work. I will probably be crying on stream at some point. So if you wanna see me in an embarrassing moment and getting really soppy, that's probably the only chance you're ever gonna get. But it's going to be a good event. With hopefully, I want to aim for Dojo 64 or higher. I don't think it's impossible. I think it's perfectly achievable, especially considering we're getting people from Scotland, and maybe even from other countries coming down. I think Fergus said he wanted to come down as well.
Nice.
So listen, it could be great. It could be fantastic. It could be big. But yeah, join us there.
Awesome, cool. Well, go do it. Go sign up. Go watch the stream or go show up. But on that happy note, Mr. PUNLIFE, thank you for jumping in to the bar.
Thanks for having me.